I don't know. 3 simple words, but saying them out loud feels like jumping off a cliff without a parachute. I'm Monica, and today I'm going to take you backstage to the I don't knows. Over the last 10 years, not only have I said I don't know, I've lived with it, broken with it, but most importantly, grown with it. Because while the stage looks perfect, it's backstage where the real story unfolds. Scene 1. It all started with cake. At my IT job, I was the engineer that made the most delicious cakes. At university interviews, I wasn't questioned about my grades, but instead about the most difficult cake that I had baked. My friends kept saying I should definitely compete in MasterChef Just Dessert. From Harry Potter themed cakes to cakes that moved, to this 60 kg 4-tiered cake that served 100 people, baking was an integral part of who I was. Little did I know that this, the biggest cake that I had baked, would also end up being one of the last few cakes that I was baking. It was 5 a.m. on a cold winter morning at a university near Delhi. I had pulled an all-nighter and was busy decorating this cake that was to be cut that evening. A friend walked by and she said, "Wow, Monica, you must really love baking." I smiled. She was This cake got me the spotlight. Students, teachers, founders, everybody loved it and said I should go to Paris and become a pastry chef. But with me, the question stayed. Do I love baking? And then came this whisper. I don't know. And I was ashamed to hear that. Because how could I? I had spent years, celebrations, pulled all-nighters, spent all weekends, all just baking. How could I not know why I was baking? The question sat with me. And one evening, as I was flipping through the pictures of the cakes that I had baked, it suddenly hit me. I hadn't tasted a single one of the cakes that I had baked. Not one. I was busy perfecting, performing, pleasing. And that's when I realized that maybe there is a deeper answer. And I don't know made space for reflection. And it said, I don't love baking. I don't even enjoy it. I do it for validation, for people to like what I do, for people to applaud me, to show the world that I can do things very few others can. But most importantly, I did it to matter. That night, I cried myself to sleep because I was grieving for that version of me that couldn't take a minute to pause and ask why, even when she was exhausted, tired, and completely drained out. Hence, I decided to pause baking. Not because I couldn't, but because I wanted to find who I was beyond the identity of a baker. I wanted to find out what it is that I could create for joy, and that made my heart happy on the inside. And that's how I followed my first big I don't know. Scene 2, the perfect job. At the age of 27, I was handed over the keys by the manufacturing CEO and she said, Monica, you have 24 months to set up a 3D printing and AI startup. Anything you need will be provided. Full freedom, a startup with zero risk, unheard of. My job was incredible. In January, I was in Thailand sketching product designs with experts. The next month, I was brainstorming with engineers from Hindustan Aeronautic Limited about 3D printing applications for jets. The month later, I was at an international Expo. All this while hiring my own team, working with the most brilliant minds, and being mentored by legends. Finally, the product was ready. It was the first of its kind in India, and I had made it happen. The next step, launch in the US market. Career completely sorted. But here I stood, at the office that I had set up from scratch. Machines buzzing, people humming, product gleaming, and I felt empty and distant. And that's when the question arrived. Why are you doing this job? And I had heard this before and I didn't want to hear it again. So I said, no, not now, no. Because how could I? This job was everything I had dreamed of. Power, validation, respect, freedom, money, a rent-free apartment in Mumbai. Does it even get better than that? But there was a part of me that knew something was missing. And the question stayed with me through nights, in the mornings, until from a whisper, it turned into a scream. And I said, I don't know. Anger came. It said, what's wrong with you? Why can't you be grateful? This is a dream job and you want more? More what? Meaning? It said, if this doesn't make you happy, nothing else will. There is no more. There was a part of me that refused to believe that. And there was a part of me that still wanted to follow that I don't know. But this wasn't simple. It wasn't like giving up an identity like baking. It was giving up my 5-year plan, my certainty, my stability, my everything. It took months. Conversations with bosses, mentors, my parents thinking I had lost my mind. But the hardest conversation was with myself, because while I was holding the anger and the fear, I had to make space for not knowing. So, even though I was certain that this could probably be the worst decision I take, and while I was still holding anger and fear, I finished the project and decided to step back. Not because I wanted to go towards a bigger job or a calling, but just to figure, if not this, then what? Scene 3, leap of faith. After the startup, I spent a year reconnecting with myself. Traveling, volunteering, teaching English, art, sharing stories, seeing the biggest smiles come alive, and it was the happiest I had been. Back home, while I was talking to my sister, who was a teacher at a government school, she happened to mention, schooling these days is still the same like it was for us. Children have most amount of fun only during lunchtime when they can play and are free to do whatever they want. She was right. That had been my experience while I was teaching as well. But there was one experience that was completely the opposite. It was when I was enrolled at the Young India Fellowship. I happened to tell her that was the 1 year where my grades did not matter. I was looked at as a human being with unlimited potential. My canvases looked like coffee stains and my professor still said they were incredible. I learned leadership through music and I learned critical thinking by analyzing Bollywood movie plot twists. It was the most fun I'd had, especially in a schooling ecosystem. Both of us were grinning at this point in time. And that got me thinking, what if children from low-income schools experienced this kind of joy every single day in schooling? And what can I do to make that a reality? And the answer was, I don't know. As if the universe heard me, shortly after, I met two Teach for India fellows who were asking the exact same question. So we decided to join forces and said, let's do it. Let's try and bring joy into children's lives from government schools across India. The I don't knows obviously followed through, and this time they didn't come in the form of anger or shame. They came in the form of acceptance and the first I don't know. I don't know how to solve this problem. We started small with a small pilot, bringing hobby clubs to children from government schools, drama under mango trees, music classes in school corridors, pilot, pivot, fail, learn, pivot again. Second, I don't know if I'm the right person. Out whispered, you're not skilled for this. You're not even an education expert. I responded by becoming the first intern of the initiative. No pressure, low stakes, just an intern, decided to give it 6 months. Third, I don't know if this is the right direction for me. From a fancy corporate job to starting from scratch, from financial stability to complete uncertainty. The fear was real, and that's when I told myself, I'll give it 6 months. If this doesn't fuel my soul, I'll step back. I didn't need 6 months. Children were the answer. Yash, a 7th grader from a government school, coded a game around garbage disposal. He made everyone in his community play the game, and after that, together, they went and cleaned the community. And he came to me running and he said, Didi, coding can change the world. I agree. Neha, an 8th grader, choreographed an entire performance to show her bullies what it felt like when they bullied her and how it tore her from within. No words, just movement. I saw pain, expression, voice, joy, empowerment, happiness. And that's when I knew this is where I'm meant to be. My I don't knows haven't been my weakness. They have led me to have everything I have today. Stepping away from being taught me that it's okay to create for joy and validation. Leaving the startup told me it's okay to ask for more meaning. And leaning into education taught me that it's okay to follow that unclear, uncertain voice. Today, I'm the co-founder of the Apprentice Project, an educational non-profit which this year will impact over 250,000 children across 10 states in India. Our goal? Bringing joy, skills and opportunities to children from low-income schools to help them succeed in life. I was able to earn 2 degrees from Harvard University, not despite my pivots, but because of them. But most importantly, the I don't knows taught me to accept myself for who I truly am. My strengths, my weaknesses, my insecurities, my quirks, all of it. Also helped me design a life of my choice. Today, living in a jungle with my dogs, doing the work that truly fuels my soul. These days, she has been my biggest teacher. This is Panda, my 10-month puppy. I'll leave you with 3 lessons that I've learned by observing her that have helped me follow the scary I don't knows. First, build your tribe. Find people that believe in you and your unlimited potential. Panda surely has found hers. When I quit my shiny LinkedIn approved job, my friends threw me a welcome to unemployment party. Cakes, balloons and everything. When my Harvard scholarship fell through, my community came together to pool resources for me because they believed in me even when I didn't in myself. Through all my career pivots, My parents have stood by me, very doubtful of what I'm doing, but still stood by me. Find your tribe. These are folks who will take you ahead. Second, spend time with yourself. Spend time figuring out who you are. Once a month, I take myself out. No plan, no agenda. Just me, chai, and music. It's my reset compass. You don't need to go to Bali for this. Just a day, an hour, just a moment with yourself. Doing. Because the answers to the biggest questions appear when we are truly connected with ourselves. Third, volunteer. Spend time teaching something you're still learning. Spend a Sunday planting trees, playing Kho-Kho, just listening. Because when we step into somebody else's world, we often stumble into our own. My purpose education found me through volunteering. So next time the scary I don't knows show up, channel your inner panda. Don't wait to figure it all out. Run towards the I don't know. Eyes wide open, tail wagging, maybe even a little wobbly. Because I don't know isn't a dead end. It could be the beginning of the best chapter of your entire life. Thank you.